Shadows of Redemption, A Tale of Justice in the Old West, written by Reuben White. Chapter 1. Echoes of gunfire. The town of Redemption lay nestled in the heart of the desert, its buildings weathered by years of harsh sun and swirling dust. It was a place where the law was as fragile as the dry bones scattered across the plains, and justice was a rare commodity. Abigail Brennan was a product of redemption, her spirit as untamed as the wild mustangs that roamed the surrounding hills. With fiery determination burning in her veins, she practiced her sharpshooting skills on the outskirts of town, the crack of gunfire echoing through the barren landscape. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desert sands, Abigail holstered her revolver and made her way back to Redemption. The town seemed different somehow, a sense of foreboding hanging in the air like the promise of a coming storm. As she rode into the heart of town, Abigail was met with whispers and hushed conversations, the townsfolk casting wary glances in her direction. She dismounted outside the sheriff's office, her heart pounding in her chest as she pushed open the door and stepped inside. The sheriff, a grizzled old man with a face like weathered leather, looked up from his desk as Abigail entered. His expression was grim, his eyes filled with a sadness that sent a chill down her spine. "What's happened?" Abigail asked, her voice trembling with fear. The sheriff's gaze softened, but his words were like a dagger to her heart. "Your father," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "He's been murdered." The world seemed to spin around Abigail as she staggered back, the weight of her father's death crashing down upon her like a landslide. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them away, steeling herself against the pain. With a determination born of grief and rage, Abigail vowed to find her father's killer and bring them to justice. Redemption may have been a town shrouded in shadows, but Abigail was determined to shine a light into every dark corner until she uncovered the truth. For Marshal John Brennan, her father, deserved nothing less than the justice he had fought so hard to uphold. And Abigail would see to it that his memory was honored, even if it meant staring down the barrel of a gun to do so. Chapter 2. A town in mourning. The news of Marshal John Brennan's murder spread through Redemption like wildfire, igniting a storm of grief and fear that swept through the town like a relentless tide. Abigail Brennan, his daughter, found herself grappling with the shock of her father's death, her heart heavy with sorrow and disbelief. As she wandered the streets of Redemption, Abigail could feel the weight of the town's mourning pressing down upon her like a suffocating blanket. Everywhere she turned, she saw faces etched with sorrow, eyes filled with tears that mirrored her own. The saloon, once a place of raucous laughter and rowdy revelry, was now a somber gathering place for the townsfolk to drown their sorrows in whiskey and silence. The air was thick with the stench of despair, the clink of glasses and murmured condolences serving as a mournful backdrop to the town's grief. But beneath the surface of sorrow, there lurked a darker undercurrent of fear and suspicion. Whispers of conspiracy circulated through Redemption like a venomous serpent, coiling around the hearts of its inhabitants and filling them with dread. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones of shadowy figures lurking in the darkness, of secret meetings held behind closed doors, of a conspiracy so vast and insidious that it threatened to tear Redemption apart at the seams. Abigail listened to the whispers with a sense of grim determination, her grief giving way to a steely resolve. She would not let her father's memory be tarnished by lies and deceit. She would uncover the truth behind his murder, no matter the cost. For in the heart of Redemption, where shadows danced and echoes of vengeance lingered on the wind, justice would prevail. And Abigail Brennan would be its instrument, her father's legacy burning bright in the darkness as she fought to bring his killers to justice. Chapter 3. The weight of legacy. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the streets of Redemption, Abigail Brennan stood alone in the fading light, her father's badge glinting in the twilight like a beacon of justice. With a heavy heart and a steely resolve, she made a decision that would change the course of her life forever. She would not let her father's memory fade into obscurity, nor would she allow his killers to escape justice. Redemption needed a marshal, now more than ever, and Abigail would be the one to step into her father's shoes and uphold the law he had fought so tirelessly to defend. But as she pinned the badge to her chest, a sense of doubt gnawed at the edges of her resolve. Could she ever hope to live up to her father's legacy? He had been a legend in Redemption, respected and feared in equal measure. Would the townsfolk accept her as their new marshal, or would they see her as nothing more than a pale imitation of the men they had lost? Abigail pushed aside her doubts, steeling herself against the tide of uncertainty that threatened to overwhelm her. She may have been young and inexperienced, but she had her father's blood running through her veins, and she would do whatever it took to honor his memory. With each step she took, the weight of her father's legacy bore down upon her like a heavy burden, but Abigail refused to let it crush her spirit. She was Marshal John Brennan's daughter, and she would carry his name with pride as she fought to uncover the truth behind his untimely death. For in the heart of redemption, where shadows lurked and echoes of vengeance whispered on the wind, one woman stood alone against the darkness, her father's memory a guiding light in the night as she embarked on a journey that would test her courage, her resolve, and her very soul. Chapter 4, Shadows and Secrets. As Abigail Brennan stepped into her new role as Marshal of Redemption, she found herself face to face with the town's true power, Sheriff Asher. Tall and imposing, with a cold, calculating gaze, Asher ruled redemption with an iron fist, his grip on the town tighter than a noose around a condemned man's neck. From the moment Abigail pinned her father's badge to her chest, Asher made it clear that he saw her as nothing more than an inconvenience, a thorn in his side that needed to be dealt with. He saw the fear in her eyes, the uncertainty that lingered beneath her steely exterior, and he relished in it, knowing that he held all the cards in this deadly game of cat and mouse. Abigail encountered resistance at every turn, Asher and his cronies working tirelessly to undermine her authority and keep her from uncovering the truth behind her father's murder. They planted false evidence, spread malicious rumors, and did everything in their power to tarnish her reputation and discredit her in the eyes of the townsfolk. But Abigail refused to back down, her determination burning bright even in the face of adversity. She delved into the corrupt underbelly of redemption, peeling back the layers of deceit and betrayal to reveal the rot at its core. She uncovered secret dealings, backroom bargains, and illicit activities that would make even the most hardened criminal blanch. Redemption was a town built on lies and deceit, its foundations shaky at best, and Abigail was determined to tear it all down and rebuild it from the ground up. But as she delved deeper into the darkness that lurked beneath the surface, Abigail realized that she was not alone in her quest for justice. There were others, like her, who had been wronged by Asher and his cronies, who had suffered at their hands and longed for retribution. Together, they formed a ragtag band of rebels, united in their desire to see Asher brought to justice and redemption restored to its former glory. They were the shadows that danced in the darkness, the whispers of hope in a town consumed by fear, and they would stop at nothing to see their mission through to the bitter end. Chapter 5, Unwelcome Revelations. As Abigail delved deeper into her investigation of her father's murder and the corruption plaguing redemption, she uncovered unsettling truths that rattled her to the core. The town's past was stained with blood and betrayal, its secrets buried beneath layers of deception like bones in the desert sands. Amidst her quest for justice, Abigail encountered Silas, a mysterious stranger whose presence seemed to shadow her every move. He appeared seemingly out of nowhere, his dark eyes holding secrets he was unwilling to share. Despite her suspicions, Abigail couldn't deny the feeling that there was more to Silas than met the eye. Reluctantly, Abigail accepted Silas's offer of help, knowing that she couldn't face the challenges ahead alone. Together, they combed through the tangled web of lies and deceit that shrouded redemption, following the trail of breadcrumbs left behind by her father's killers. But with each step they took, Abigail found herself drawn deeper into a labyrinth of darkness, where shadows whispered secrets and danger lurked around every corner. Silas's motives remained elusive, his true intentions obscured by a veil of mystery that Abigail couldn't penetrate. As they unearthed long-buried secrets and confronted the ghosts of redemption's past, Abigail couldn't shake the feeling that she was being led down a treacherous path, where betrayal lurked at every turn. But she was determined to see her father's memory vindicated, no matter the cost. Even if it meant putting her trust in a stranger with a hidden agenda, even if it meant facing the shadows of redemption alone. For in the heart of darkness, where secrets lay hidden and echoes of vengeance lingered on the wind, Abigail Brennan would stop at nothing to uncover the truth and bring her father's killers to justice. Chapter 6, Pursuit of Truth. Abigail and Silas, an unlikely pair bound by a common goal, joined forces to unravel the web of deceit ensnaring redemption. Together, they delved deeper into the dark underbelly of the town, their footsteps echoing like a drumbeat of defiance against the tyranny of Sheriff Asher and his corrupt regime. With each passing day, the threats and intimidation from Asher and his cronies escalated, their attempts to silence Abigail and Silas only serving to fuel their determination. But the more they were pushed, the harder they fought back, their alliance growing stronger with each obstacle they overcame. They combed through dusty archives and whispered secrets, piecing together fragments of the truth like shards of a broken mirror. They faced danger at every turn, their lives hanging in the balance as they chased shadows and hunted ghosts. But amidst the chaos and uncertainty, Abigail and Silas found solace in each other's company, their bond forged in the crucible of adversity. Silas's mysterious past and enigmatic demeanor no longer seemed so intimidating in the face of their shared mission, his unwavering support a beacon of hope in the darkness. As they uncovered more clues and drew closer to the heart of the conspiracy, Abigail felt a sense of purpose burning bright within her, her father's memory driving her forward with a fierce determination. She would see justice done, no matter the cost. For in the pursuit of truth, where shadows danced and echoes of vengeance lingered on the wind, Abigail Brennan and Silas stood united against the forces of darkness, their resolve unshakable as they faced the final showdown looming on the horizon. Chapter 7, Showdown in Redemption. The tension in Redemption reached its boiling point as Abigail and Silas prepared to confront Sheriff Asher and his gang. The dusty streets of the town seemed to hold their breath, awaiting the inevitable clash between justice and corruption. With grim determination, Abigail and Silas squared their shoulders and marched towards the sheriff's office, their footsteps echoing in the silence like a drumroll heralding the coming storm. Behind them, a ragtag band of rebels stood ready to fight, their faces set in expressions of fierce determination. As they reached the sheriff's office, the doors swung open with a creak, revealing Asher and his cronies lurking within like wolves waiting to pounce. The sheriff's eyes narrowed as he saw Abigail and Silas approaching, his lips curling into a sneer of contempt. "Well, well, well," he drawled, his voice dripping with malice. "Look what the cat dragged in. Thought you could come waltzing back into town and take what's rightfully mine, did you, girl?" Abigail met Asher's gaze with steely resolve, her hand hovering over her revolver as she prepared for the inevitable confrontation. "I'm here for justice, Asher," she said, her voice ringing out clear and strong. "And I won't rest until I see you and your gang brought to account for what you've done." A tense silence descended over the room as Abigail and Asher locked eyes, the air crackling with electricity as the two adversaries faced off. And then, without warning, all hell broke loose. Bullets flew and fists clashed as Abigail and Silas fought side by side against Asher and his gang, their determination unyielding as they battled for the soul of redemption. The dusty streets ran red with blood as the two sides clashed in a whirlwind of violence and chaos. But in the end, justice prevailed. With a final, decisive blow, Abigail and Silas emerged victorious, Asher and his cronies lying defeated at their feet. Redemption was free from the grip of corruption, its streets cleansed of the stain of injustice. As the townsfolk emerged from their homes to witness the aftermath of the battle, they looked upon Abigail and Silas with awe and admiration, their faces lit by the flickering light of hope. For in the heart of redemption, where shadows had once reigned supreme, a new dawn was breaking, and Abigail Brennan and Silas stood as its champions, their courage and determination shining bright in the face of adversity. Chapter 8, Redemption Restored. As the dust settled in the wake of the showdown in Redemption, the townspeople emerged from their homes, their faces etched with a mixture of awe and gratitude as they looked upon Abigail Brennan and Silas, the unlikely heroes who had freed their town from the grip of corruption. Abigail stood tall, her father's badge gleaming proudly on her chest, as she addressed the gathered crowd. Her voice rang out clear and strong, echoing through the streets like a clarion call of victory. "Today, we have reclaimed our town," she declared, her words carrying the weight of truth and justice. "But our work is far from over. We must remain vigilant, for the shadows of the past still linger, waiting to reclaim what we have fought so hard to win." The townspeople nodded in agreement, their eyes shining with newfound hope as they looked to Abigail as their leader. She had earned their respect and admiration, her bravery and determination a beacon of light in the darkness. And so, with redemption restored to its former glory, Abigail and Silas prepared to ride off into the sunset, their future uncertain but full of promise. Together, they had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, their bond forged in the crucible of adversity stronger than ever. As they rode out of town, the wind at their backs and the sun setting on the horizon, Abigail and Silas knew that their journey was far from over. But as long as they had each other, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, their hearts filled with hope and their spirits unbroken. For in the heart of redemption, where shadows had once held sway and echoes of vengeance had whispered on the wind, a new day was dawning, and Abigail Brennan and Silas rode forth as its champions, their legacy assured and their future filled with endless possibilities. Epilogue. Echoes of vengeance. As the days passed in redemption, the scars of its tumultuous past began to heal. The once dusty streets were swept clean, and the air was filled with the sound of laughter and song, replacing the echoes of gunfire and fear that had haunted the town for so long. Abigail Brennan stood at the heart of this transformation. Her father's memory was finally vindicated as the truth behind his murder came to light. The townspeople looked upon her with newfound respect and admiration, their gratitude overflowing as they saw the courage and determination she had displayed in the face of adversity. With each passing day, the echoes of vengeance faded into the distance, replaced by a sense of peace and reconciliation that seemed to permeate every corner of redemption. The wounds of the past may never fully heal, but they served as a reminder of the strength and resilience of the town and its people. As Abigail stood on the outskirts of redemption, the sun setting on the horizon, she felt a sense of peace wash over her like a warm breeze. The shadows of the past may still linger, but they no longer held sway over the town. In the fading light of the day, Abigail looked towards the future with hope in her heart. Redemption had been through hell and back, but it had emerged stronger and more united than ever before. As she rode off into the sunset, her faithful companion Silas by her side, Abigail knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the same courage and determination that had brought her to this moment. For in the heart of redemption, where echoes of vengeance had once rung out like a death knell, a new chapter was beginning, filled with hope and promise for a brighter tomorrow. And as the town faded into the distance behind her, Abigail Brennan rode forth into the unknown, her spirit unbroken and her resolve unwavering. If you are enjoying the Mystery Within channel, hit the subscribe, follow, or like buttons for future posts.